So I did send an email, and I will communicate with you all through the Microsoft Office email system, Outlook. So if you tend to have things go to your clutter box, please do be sure to let me know. Oh, thank you for starting the recording for us too. I forgot about that. So thank you. Please do let me, yeah, thanks. Please do let me know. I did also turn on the closed captioning, just because I know sometimes it can be hard to hear, or the microphone can be a little bit delayed or interrupted. I know it isn't a perfect backup, but it at least gives you an option to see the text if you're not able to hear it clearly. What I have planned for us today is just a quick overview of what I'm thinking for the session and for the remainder months. And I would like to end that with a question time, because I want to make sure that if you're not seeing your needs being met with what I have planned, that we can incorporate some of that, or set up a one-to-one meeting to make sure that you're walking away from this course getting exactly what you want for your career, because I know that that's important for relevancy moving forward. So before I begin, is there any questions or anything anyone wants to ask?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And I am used to working in Zoom and Google Meet, so give me just a minute. Here we go. Can you just verify with me that you can indeed see a presentation that says Orientation for Organizational Behavior Studies?
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
We can see your screen.
Okay. As soon as I see it, I don't see any of you anymore or see the chat box. So thank you for verifying. And it's okay if I am speaking, if you just find a leg to let me know. Don't consider it interrupting, just consider it like verifying if the screen goes blank, or if you need me to slow down. I'm happy to do that. So our orientation is here today on a Saturday, but our sessions are going to meet every Monday, and that's going to be at 9 a.m. Washington, D.C. time until approximately 11:30 a.m. I understand that that's like afternoon and evening for a lot of you, and the intention is to allow you to be able to fit your workday in for the time of the course. So we will meet every Monday for June, July, and August. There's a little asterisk next to Monday because the 4th of July happens to be on a Monday here in the US, but that works out perfectly because instead of having a full class with everyone on that Monday, we're going to do a project-based assignment. You have 2 assignments for this course, and I'll go over that in just a little bit. And that will give you that day to work on that. And then we will also open up that week to coordinate individual meetings with you each, so that we can touch base on how you're doing in that project if you have any questions and whatnot. Those meetings will be optional. It'll be entirely up to you. You'll receive a rubric that explains what the point system is for the project-based assignment. And you will be able to ask questions prior to any due date for that. But that's how we're going to go ahead and handle that interruption with the major holiday here.
Hi, Prof. Can I interrupt for a short while?
I'm sorry?
Can I interrupt for a short while? I think we have class on Monday as well at 9 a.m. It's for the business and managerial economics. So I'm not sure whether it's going to be clash with your class.
Yes. Unfortunately, we have intersection between two classes.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, okay, so what time does the other class start?
It's the same at 9 a.m. as well. As we understood from the schedule we received, right? The organizational behavior study is supposed to falls on every Saturday at 9 a.m. That's what we understood earlier.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clarify that with Sarah
Yeah.
because she confirmed me for Mondays and said that the conflict was changed with the other course.
Oh,
So
I
let
see.
me make sure that she can communicate that. Unless you hear otherwise, we'll plan on those Mondays, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for letting me know. I know that she communicated that with me, but maybe she didn't switch that for you all yet. Okay. Okay. So there's a lot of objectives for this workshop for this course. And through the objectives throughout these next few months, they're coordinated with Bloom's taxonomy. And if you're not familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, it's a leveling of difficulty for the interactions with the content that you'll be exploring. So some examples of how our learning objectives are going to be transitioned to learning outcomes throughout the course is we'll be defining organizational behavior and organizations. We'll also be explaining why organizational behavior and knowledge is important for you and for the organizations. We'll have opportunities to discuss the anchors that organizational behavior knowledge is based upon. We'll have opportunities for summarizing, and there will be some descriptions and applications of different factors. So those examples that I just gave you are only from our very first chapter that we'll be engaging with. So you can see that the course is designed for you all to be very interactive and involved. We're going to do some front loading, which means that when you are accessing your content, you'll read the assigned chapters and review the presentation. I'll do an audio recording of it prior to the time that we come to class together on Monday mornings at 9. And so our time together on Mondays will be interacting with that content from the presentation and from the readings so that you can really apply it to what you want to use it for in your profession. So know that that might be a little different. My intention is not to give a full 2-hour lecture every week. My intention is to provide you with that lecture both visually and orally ahead of time, along with the chapter reading, and then give you the opportunity to have a quick review from my perspective of the key points, and then engage with that content. And I can show you a little bit about what that's going to look like for our next session in just a moment. Before that, I want to make sure that you know I've read in the WhatsApp and have engaged with Sarah myself. There's been some difficulties with access for the materials and for the Moodle. Currently, I don't have anything for this course on the Moodle yet because I haven't been able to access it as an administrator to add those items. So Sarah is working on that, and I will be able to get that completed for us. The good thing is because we have orientation today, we are not meeting this Monday, the 30th. Our sessions start on the 6th. So that will get us time to clarify the conflict with your other course. And then it will also get us time to clarify how to access your content and make sure you have everything you need. At a minimum, you can expect me for this first week to email you exactly what you're going to need. But I will not do that every week. I'll do that until we can get the bumps figured out in regards to being able to get that content. Mainly the access to McGraw-Hill for the reading of the ebook, and also the access for me to the Moodle for you to be able to see what's there for the work. Sound fair enough?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this should not look new to you. This is the evaluation and percentage scales that were provided to you in the course catalog. And I wanted to just give you a little bit of a rundown of what each of these different components may look like. So for quizzes, you can expect that to be either a multiple choice quiz, it may be a fill in the blank, it might be a written response, it might be that we set up a discussion and your contributions count as that, written and or oral. There's going to be 10 quizzes and they will be 10 points each. And the important thing for me when we incorporate quizzes is not for you to regurgitate information. It's for you to be able to demonstrate that you can take what you're learning and apply it to context. There are 2 assignments for the course. The first assignment is going to be a case study analysis, and those materials will be available to you. You'll be able to select from a few different options, and then exactly what you're going to do for your analysis will be provided to you. That is the work that I had mentioned that we would do for the project-based for the July 4th course, and we'll do individual meetings on that as requested. And then assignment number 2 is going to be a leadership profile, and that's going to be compiled throughout the sessions using your learning reflections and content that you've that has really stood out for you. So outline of what that will look like will come as well. And the reason why I'm going to interact with you with a learning reflection format is because I want to assure that you're successful with that assignment when it's due towards the end of the course. And then there's a proctored final exam. And I'm going to double check with Sarah on this, but my design for this is that you will receive a design, you will either design yourself or investigate a scenario. So you might have a scenario that you're most interested in, or you can choose one that I provide, and you're going to be justifying and stand on decisions that are made. You're going to be drawing on connections and ideas from the course content. And you're also going to be using information in a new way while explaining the ideas and concepts that you learned over these months that we'll be together. So that will be proctored. So we'll do that with video screens on and whatnot. All of the details, as soon as I'm gathering them and make sure that I'm articulating exactly what the expectations are from the university, will be provided to you as well. Any questions about evaluation and percentage?
No questions.
Okay. Okay. So now I wanted to let you look at kind of how I plan things out. Monday, the 6th of June, like I said, will be our first return for our first chapter. And so before that session on the 6th of June, you'll make sure that you have read or listened to the chapter 1. You'll make sure that you've reviewed or listened to the chapter 1 presentation deck. And for that session, I'm going to have you go ahead and prepare an example of organizational behavior from the film industry. and it will include an image, and it will also include a brief explanation, about 3 to 5 sentences, about how the film is an example of organizational behavior. And there are definitions that you can incorporate from chapter 1. I'm going to give you a couple of examples before we leave orientation today, so don't worry. But it's just a way for us to connect to the film industry and kind of things that you're interested in, and see how organizational behavior plays out. During our session on the 6th, we're going to engage with the content. We will incorporate whatever chapter evaluation, whatever quiz that will take place at the end of the session. So you don't have to worry about setting up extra time for that. And we're also going to be prepared to share those images that I just mentioned from the film industry. And then I will always leave time to front load for our next session and make sure that everybody is on par and things have been communicated in a way that you can leave class knowing what you need to do to prepare for the next one. The next session is going to focus, the June 13th session will focus on making ethical decisions and emotions in the workplace. And so then after the session on the 13th of June, you'll have a learning, that will be when your first learning reflection will take place. And then you will read and listen to the next 2 chapters that are assigned. It'll be chapter 2 and chapter 4. Chapter 3 will cover in another week. Chapter 2 and 4 just went together really nicely. And you'll look at those slide decks, and you'll also complete a Myers-Briggs survey. So that's kind of a little snapshot of what's to come. Any questions about that before I go into the examples of the film industry integration?
No.
Excuse me, Professor. Hello?
I'm sorry? Yes?
Yes, excuse me, Professor. I just joined like 5 minutes ago, and later I will review the recording of this session. So if I have any questions later, can I share it?
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Feel free to share those later. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's look at the definition of organizational behavior. It's the study of what people think, feel, and do in and around organizations. And there was a time where we looked at organizational behavior just from a management perspective in regards to how to get the most out of our employees. But now it's also from a leadership perception, I'm sorry. It's also from a leadership perception around how do I draw out of my employees different characteristics and behaviors and things that I need for my organization to be successful. So let's look at our first example from the film industry. And I don't know if you're familiar with this film. It's called Corporate, and it came out in 2006. And as the name suggests, the movie itself is set in the corporate world and is about the shenanigans carried out by folks in 2 rival companies. So shenanigans are the things that they're doing to be competitive with one another. The film is by Madhur Bhandekar, and I probably did not pronounce that name correctly. And it showcases the organizational behavior concepts of corruption, abusive leadership, personality, power, negotiation, conflict management, organizational politics, and unethical behavior. So the film has some excellent performances by the main characters, and fair warning, it's quite cynical. So my expectation is that you'll find a film that is familiar to you, or that you may not be familiar. You may have to go search for one, and you're going to review it looking at the vocabulary from our textbook, especially from that first chapter, and looking for different things that would represent organizational behavior concepts. I have another example for you. This film is really like pretty simple to watch, and it had really infectious chemistry between its leads, and it was partly due to the storyline and the tight direction. So it revolves around two young entrepreneurs who start a wedding planning company from the ground up, and along the process they fall in love. And although it might be like a little bit one-sided, the resulting dynamics really showcase well from an organizational behavior perspective, team dynamics, personality, collaboration, workplace romance, and conflict management. So this will be a great way for us to kind of get to know each other a little bit more, and incorporate some of the film industry in representing how we're defining organizational behavior and examples of how that plays out. So now we are to the conclusion, which is our question time. And if you have questions about any of the slides that I just presented, or if you have any different questions, this would be the time for us to discuss that. Any questions?
No question, Prof.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm back to you guys. Okay. So if there's no questions from anyone, I'm going to just check the chat box. Oh, welcome, Judith. Okay. Oh, Judah Lynn. I caught that. Just call you Judah Lynn. Okay. So what you all have to do between now and June 6th is to, if you don't yet have access to the ebook, access the ebook. I will send you that PowerPoint presentation with my audio this week. Remember, June 6th is not 2 days from now. We have like a full week. I will go ahead and get that out to you within these next couple of days. And I will send that at the same time that I get the response from Sarah Reyes in regards to the conflict of the timing for the course with another course, so that you're getting everything in one communication from me. That will go to your Windsor University email account. So between now and then, you have that chapter reading and presentation deck to do. You also have your selection of a representation of organizational behavior from the film industry with your explanations of it. And we're going to make sure that we all get a chance to share our learning on that. So make sure you come prepared. This presentation will be provided to you as well. You have it in the recording, but if you prefer to just look at the slide deck, I will provide that in that same communication. So otherwise, we are all set. I appreciate you taking the time for orientation today and for working out the bumps with me in regards to the conflict. But we will get that all situated and have a great semester. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. I'm going to just stop the recording.